Hello and welcome to Edusathi. We'll be talking about human body today, and we'll be, talking about some of the very interesting facts and surprising facts about human body. So let's get started. The largest organ in the human body is the skin. Our skin is the largest organ that we have in our body. The liver is the largest gland and the largest internal organ in the human body. So, if I'm talking about the internal organ, my answer would be liver, which is the largest gland and the largest internal organ, whereas the largest organ is the skin. Moving ahead, our brain uses over a quarter of oxygen which is used by the human body. Okay? Our hearts beat around 10,000 times a day. Sorry, around 1 lakh times a day, which makes it 365 lakhs times in a year and over a billion times if you live beyond 30. Okay? Now, another interesting point that we have is the length of the thumb is same as the length of our nose. So people who have a longer nose would have a longer thumb as well. Okay? Next, the red blood cells which are present in our body carry oxygen around the body. Now these red blood cells are created inside the bone marrow. So bone marrow is the place where the red blood cells that carry oxygen throughout our body are created. Okay? They are also known as RBCs. They're very, very important cells for carrying oxygen throughout the body. The next one is the biggest muscle in our body is gluteus maximus and it is in the buttock. The lungs contain over 3 lakh million capillaries. 300,000 million capillaries is a better way of saying it. The lungs contain over 300 million capillaries. If they were laid end to end, they would stretch 2,400 kilometers. So, our lung has accommodated all those capillaries, which would stretch to around 2,400 kilometers when laid end to end. Now, the blood in our body is filtered by the body over 300 times a day. So every blood is filtered by our body over 300 times a day. It's so pure. The ovum is the largest cell in the human body. So the largest cell that is there in the human body is ovum. And the smallest cell is the male sperm cell. Male sperm cell is the smallest, whereas the ovum, which is the female egg, is the largest cell in the human body. And if I talk about the length of the male sperm cell, it is 1/10 the diameter of the human hair. Okay, moving ahead, adult lungs have a surface area of around 70 square meters. So they're quite big to be accommodated in the body. So the area that is there is 70 meters square for an adult lungs. Okay, moving ahead, we'll talk about the smallest bone that is there in our body, which is stapes, and it is located in the inner ear. So, the smallest bone in the body is located in the inner ear. The acid in the stomach is very, very, I can say, acidic or is very, very strong and can dissolve razor blades as well. So, the acid in our stomach is a very, very strong acid that we have. Nose and ears continue growing throughout the entire life. Okay? Each person has a unique tongue print just like the fingerprints. As the fingerprints of two people do not match, similar is the tongue print. The tongue print is unique for every individual. Moving ahead, the longest muscle that is there in the body is sartorius. It is the longest muscle that we have. We have talked about the largest muscle in the previous slide, and this is the longest muscle that we have. Okay, the smallest muscle in the body is stapedius, deep in the ear. It is thinner than the thread and 0.05 inches in length. So this is the smallest muscle that we have in our body. The smallest bone is also in ear. It is stapes, and the muscles that are there, the name is stapedus. The smallest muscle is associated in the deep ear. It is thinner than the thread. Okay, so we have talked about the smallest muscle, the smallest bone, the longest muscle, the largest muscle till now. Okay, moving ahead, uh, our teeth enamel is the hardest substance which is there in our body. So it's the hardest substance that we have. An interesting fact is that all the babies are color blind when they are born. They can only see black and white. Only when they grow up, they tend to differentiate between colors, and their vision becomes colored. So when they are born, they cannot see anything apart from black and white. Okay. The tongue is the strongest muscle in the human body. So we know the largest, we know the smallest, we now know the strongest muscle in the human body, which is our tongue. And we have talked about the tongue print is unique for every individual. Okay. Now another interesting fact is it takes only 17 muscles to smile while it takes 43 muscles to frown. So why frown? Always we should smile because it takes lesser effort to smile. Okay? Moving ahead. The adult body is made up of 100 trillion cells, 206 bones, 600 muscles, and 22 internal organs. We just need to remember the count of internal organs as 22, muscles as 600, bones as 206, and cells as 100 trillion. So this is the count of the various things that our body is made up of. Bones in an adult account for 14% of the total body weight. So out of the total body weight, 14% is accounted for by the bones. Okay. Moving ahead, when a baby is born, it has 300 bones in their body, and as an adult we have 206. So what happens over a period of time, these bones fuse into each other, and we are left with 206 bones in a adult. 200 muscles are used to take one single step. So a great amount of effort is going into taking a single step, and that effort is by 200 muscles. Okay, the strongest bone in the body is femur, which is our thigh bone, and is hollow. It is also the longest and the largest bone in the human body. So there are 206 bones that we have, and out of which femur, which is the thigh bone, is the strongest, longest, and the largest. So it is strongest, longest, and the largest bone that we have in the human body, and it is a thigh bone that we are talking about. Okay. The normal pulse rate is 70 heartbeats per minute. So that's the normal pulse rate is 70 heartbeats per minute. Blood is 6 times thicker than water. Okay. The next interesting fact that we have is facial hair grows faster than any other hairs on the body. The hairs that you have on your face grows the fastest than any other hair in your body. Okay? Some of them are really interesting. Moving ahead, let's talk about our kidneys now. Our kidneys filter about 1.3 liters of blood every minute and expel up to 1.4 liters of urine every day. So they filter the blood at the rate of 1.3 liters every minute. Okay. Okay. Now, the only part of the body without the blood supply is the cornea in the eye. It takes the oxygen directly from the air. So when we open our eye, and the cornea of the eye takes the oxygen directly from the air present around us, and the blood supply is not there in the cornea of the eye. Okay, moving ahead, an average human produces 10,000 gallons of saliva in a lifetime. 10,000 gallons, that's a lot of amount of saliva that we produce in a lifetime. The fastest growing nail is on the middle finger. Our fastest growing nail is the middle finger nail. You can just observe it. Cut your nails, and the next time when you cut your nails, look at the growth that has happened in each of the nail. You'll observe that it's the middle finger. Okay, 14 bones make up the human face. So out of 206 bones that we have, 14 bones make up our face. The tooth is the only part of our body that cannot repair itself. So if there's something that happens to our tooth, it cannot repair itself. Okay.